Breaking: Israel makes shock move against Syria. The tense situation in Syria and the surrounding area may have just heated up. Syrian government forces are already engaged in a complicated skirmish which involves the US and Russia, along with anti-government rebel groups. Now, Israel has reportedly launched a missile strike against the Syrian army. That strike was reportedly carried out from the airspace above the Golan Heights, which Israel partially controls. According to Sputnik News, the targets were Syrian forces located in the province of Quneitra. Enemy warplanes of Israel launched 2 missiles from the occupied territory, Golan Heights, at 1845, local time, on one of the positions of our army. It caused material damage, a Syrian source allegedly told the Russian news agency. The Israel Defense Forces confirmed a strike, and stated that it was a response to an earlier incident in the Golan Heights. In response to the projectiles fired from Syria that hit the northern Golan Heights earlier this evening, the IDF targeted the launch sites, an IDF representative stated on Twitter. Moments ago, a projectile was launched from Syria and hit an open area in the northern Golan Heights. No injuries have been reported, the same IDF account reported hours before the Quneitra strike. It is not known if that projectile was targeting Israeli troops specifically, or if a stray weapon such as a mortar shell had hit an Israeli-controlled area by mistake. A similar exchange between Syria and Israel occurred last year. In November, the IDF said a missile believed to be launched from Syria hit the Israeli-controlled northern Golan Heights without causing any casualties, Sputnik News stated about the previous incident. The IDF responded with retaliatory fire. The Golan Heights is a heavily disputed region which sits between Israel and Syria. A large western section of the land is administered by Israel, while the smaller eastern side is controlled by Syria. While the squabbling between the two countries over the disputed land is not new, Israel's strike could spark increased tensions in the troubled area. The situation could already be described as convoluted, with a handful of different forces, including the powerful American and Russian governments, each pushing for different goals. It's likely that Syria and its neighbors will be front-page news for the foreseeable future. HT, Gateway Pundit. If you're interested in this latest development, please share this story with your friends on Facebook. What do you think about this strike? Scroll down to comment below. Tucker Carlson lands Caitlyn Jenner for first interview and shows new time slot. After Bill O'Reilly's dismissal from Fox News, Tucker Carlson made some big news with the announcement that he would be moving into O'Reilly's 8 p.m. time slot. Now, he's going to be celebrating the move by having one of the most famous, and controversial, individuals in America as a guest. According to Variety, Carlson will be facing off with Caitlyn Jenner, the former Olympian, reality show star and transgender activist, when Carlson makes the jump to 8 p.m. on Monday. The booking and the old time slot of the O'Reilly factor is an interesting one. O'Reilly was one of the most vocal critics of Jenner's public profile, when Jenner announced in 2015 that he was thenceforth identifying as a woman. O'Reilly said, "Pardon me for this, but from the waist down, he is a he." Jenner confirmed earlier this week that she has had gender reassignment surgery, according to Access Hollywood, and is promoting a new book, The Secrets of My Life. Jenner also claims to have voted for President Trump but has now turned against him due to his perceived actions against the transgender community. "I'm interested in Caitlyn Jenner's politics and what it must be like to be in that position," Carlson said during an appearance Friday on Fox News The 5. "People coming at you from both sides. And so I want to have a conversation about it." Asked whether Jenner was a conservative, Carlson said, "That's my understanding. I mean, this is the first interview we've done, so I don't really know. But I've read that and I'm interested in it, and I'm also interested in the idea that people sort of wind up spokespeople for a cause or a group maybe against their will. And I don't know if that's the case here, but I'm going to try and find out," Carlson added. You can see that even other anchors at Fox News were stunned that Tucker managed to get Jenner as a guest. Carlson certainly couldn't have hoped for a bigger splash than that. If anything could make viewers forget about the ugliness regarding how he ended up at 8 p.m., that's certainly it. Busted. Republicans push to end Democrats' personal welfare fraud scheme, you'll cheer. Welfare fraud represents billions, if not trillions of dollars in government waste each year. And keeping in mind that it's typically a wrongdoing related with unlawful migrants and those in the criminal black market, in some cases it's a previous U.S. congressman who's running the fraud. Such is the situation with this event here. This story comes to us from Chicago, where Jesse Jackson Jr. has been gathering over $100,000 in workers' remuneration, despite the fact that he conceded to plundering his own particular campaign finance and served a jail term as a result of it. Indeed, Republican Representative Rodney Davis has had enough and is endeavoring to change the law and close down Jackson's welfare trick. From the Chicago Sun-Times. I believe if you're a member of Congress and you are convicted of stealing campaign funds, you should not be eligible to receive workers' compensation benefits. Members of Congress need to be good stewards of taxpayer money, Davis said. We're reviewing the process and possible legislative options to prevent the abuse of this program that is meant for honest working taxpayers, he said. Every single government worker, including individuals from Congress, are qualified for laborers' comp, as per the law, in the event that they endure from wounds supported in the execution of obligation while in support of the United States. On account of healthy privacy laws, people, in general, is not qualified for recognizing what sort of employment-related harm Jackson, 52, said he endured on June 1, 2012, while playing out his obligations as an individual from Congress. Unbelievable. Thank God there's a Republican willing to make a move and put a conclusion to this. The main reason that we are getting some answers concerning this now is on account of Jackson is experiencing a chaotic separation from his wife, to additionally serve time for helping him attack his crusade and uncontrollably spending the cash. It's a disgrace they're separating. It appears like they truly merited each other. Things being what they are, what do you think? Is the mental anguish that Jackson experienced at work more terrible than the kind that 95% of whatever remains of the nation experiences every week? I genuinely question it. Go land a genuine position, Jesse, and after that reveal to us the amount you merit your six-figure wage with the administration making your childcare installments. What a joke. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the section below, commentator. Share the truth, be patriots. Thank you for reading. Trump was right. Newt Gingrich confirmed America's worst nightmare on live TV. Newt Gingrich just went on Fox News and was not holding back. He was on to talk about the terrorist attack in France, but he sent a dire warning to America that it will be happening here soon if we don't stand up to the lying media. After describing how Europe is bringing these terrorist attacks on themselves, Newt targeted the American media. Newt said political correctness in the mainstream media is causing people to ignore the threat of radical Islamists immigrating to the U.S. Then Newt turned his attention to the ridiculous idea of gun control, pointing out how France's strict gun control laws are inviting terrorism. France has very strict gun laws, except for terrorists, who seem to always be able to get guns. The question is, are you willing to accept immigrants? WHO refused to join your country. Recently in a shooting in the US, the Associated Press refused to print that the person said Allah Akbar. I mean, you have this whole elite effort to refuse to confront how bad things are, and it's almost like they're terrified of being honest about what the problems are. He did it. Trump just buried the Democratic Party forever with this surprise announcement. President Trump just turned Washington upside down. He just announced a massive tax cut that will be unveiled next week. This is the Democrats' worst nightmare, as they know most Americans would love a tax cut. Just the latest example of Trump following through on his promises, and the Democrats will panic. He told the Associated Press that the plan will result in tax cuts for both individuals and businesses. He also told them it would be the biggest ever. Bigger than any tax cut ever. Speaker Paul Ryan has been telling President Trump not to push for a tax cut this year, but he just showed Ryan and the establishment who is really in charge. Share on Facebook to spread the good news. From the Associated Press. The president says the package will be released on Wednesday or shortly thereafter, just before his 100-day mark in office. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin initially set a goal of getting tax reform passed by August, but that deadline has slipped. Mnuchin now says the administration still hoped to get a bill passed well before